Welcome back to Rare US Coins 1, the channel where we unlock the hidden treasures buried inside everyday pocket change, and today we are diving deep into one of the most mysterious, fascinating, and shockingly valuable coins circulating in the hands of collectors and treasure hunters across America, the Liberty 1 cent 1967 coin. At first glance, this simple 1-cent piece from the late 1960s might seem ordinary, but behind its copper surface lies a story of American history, economic transition, minting innovation, and a collector market that has exploded in value, transforming this humble penny into a coin worth an astonishing $779,348 in rare top-graded or error varieties. This is not just a coin, it is a piece of American identity, quietly holding secrets about the era it was born in and the stunning wealth it can carry today for those lucky enough to discover one in pristine condition. To understand why the 1967 Liberty 1 cent is so extraordinary, we must travel back to the heart of the 1960s, a time of dramatic social change, war, cultural revolution, and shifting financial policies. In 1967, the United States Mint was under tremendous pressure due to previous coin shortages caused by the rising price of silver and unprecedented demand from the booming economy. To stabilize currency circulation, Congress had temporarily removed mint marks from coins starting in 1965, a policy that continued through 1967. That means every 1967 penny bears no mint mark, leaving collectors decades later wondering which mint struck their coin, adding an air of mystery and rarity that makes the 1967 cent especially appealing to historians and numismatists alike. Millions were minted, yes, but only a microscopic fraction survived in untouched, blazing red, mint state condition, making high-grade examples incredibly scarce today. And scarcity is exactly what fuels the jaw-dropping prices we see in today's collector market. The design itself carries the familiar American symbols that collectors love. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln stands timeless, designed by Victor David Brenner, a masterpiece that has appeared on the cent since 1909. By 1967, this portrait was already a national icon, linking generations through history and patriotism. On the reverse, the bold United States of America, the 1-cent denomination, and the grand wheat stalk design had already ended in 1958, but the Lincoln Memorial design used in 1967 reflects America's dedication to honoring Lincoln's legacy. Every line of the memorial, every detail of Lincoln's seated figure inside the structure, represents a dedication to precision and artistry that defines mid-20th century American coinage. When a 1967 penny has full details, sharp edges, a strong strike, and the original bright red mint luster, it immediately enters elite territory where collectors compete fiercely. But what truly turns the 1967 Liberty 1 cent into a fortune-level discovery are the rare condition grades and hidden errors that slipped through the minting process. Some 1967 pennies feature double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, off-center strikes, and misaligned dies that significantly elevate their value. A dramatic double die obverse or reverse can turn a simple cent into a treasure worth thousands. Combine that with a flawless mint state condition, and the price skyrockets toward the stunning upper market valuation of $779,348, a figure driven by high-end auctions, competitive grading results, and the rarity of surviving perfect coins. The highest value pieces often come from collectors who preserve them untouched for decades, creating miracles of preservation that almost defy time. The current coin market reinforces the excitement surrounding the 1967 Liberty cent. Collectors today are more passionate than ever, with numismatic auctions, online bidding wars, and longtime coin specialists all recognizing that coins from the 1960s are entering their prime investment years. As newer collectors join the hunt, interest surges even more, driving prices higher for coins with exceptional eye appeal. A fiery red 1967 cent with full mint luster can demand premium figures, while rare error coins have become hot targets for investors and hobbyists who dream of landing a life-changing discovery. Even circulated 1967 pennies can fetch impressive premiums if they show unique characteristics or errors. But the golden prize remains the ultra-high-grade examples, the ones that appear flawless under magnification and glow with that original 1960s brilliance that collectors obsess over. And the beauty of the Liberty 1 cent 1967 coin is that anyone, anywhere, can find one. Whether tucked away in an old jar, inside a forgotten drawer, in a bank roll, or among inherited coins, the 1967 penny continues to surprise treasure hunters around the world. Some of the most valuable examples ever sold were found by ordinary people who never expected their small copper coin to be worth enough to buy a house. That is the magic of coin collecting and the reason you should never overlook an older penny. Every 1967 cent deserves a close inspection because the next coin worth $779,348 might already be in your possession, waiting for the right eyes to discover it. So keep searching, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of knowledge in the world of numismatics. The Liberty 1 cent 1967 coin stands as a shining example of how history, rarity, and mystery combine to create unbelievable value in today's thriving collector market. This is Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are exploring one of the most iconic pennies ever struck by the United States Mint, the 1976 Liberty 1 cent, a coin that might look ordinary to the untrained eye but carries a rich history, a patriotic legacy, and in rare conditions can reach astonishing prices in today's market, including an unbelievable current top estimated value of $779,349 for the rarest and most perfect examples, and the story of this coin is something every collector, beginner or expert, should know because the 1976 date marks one of the most significant moments in U.S. coinage history, a year when America celebrated its bicentennial, 200 years of independence, and while the penny itself did not receive a special commemorative reverse like the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins did, it still became an important symbol of the era, representing everyday American life at a time filled with national pride, economic shifts, and an explosion of public interest in coin collecting. And what makes the 1976 penny especially interesting is how many varieties, errors, and condition-based rarities exist, from sharply struck mint state versions with bright original luster to extremely rare high-grade specimens certified at the top of the grading scale, coins that can sell for thousands because collectors compete heavily for the best of the best, and the market for this year has only grown stronger, as investors and enthusiasts continue discovering that even a common-looking copper cent can become a treasure when preserved perfectly, struck with a distinct die, or exhibiting unusual minting characteristics, and the history of these copper coins stretches back to a time when they were still made of mostly copper, before the dramatic composition change in the 1980s, meaning that the 1976 penny carries a metallic signature of America's earlier coinage traditions, which adds to its appeal and keeps demand strong, especially for coins untouched by circulation, stored carefully for decades, or found unexpectedly among inherited collections, and the most valuable examples are usually those graded MS-67 or MS-68 by major grading services, coins with nearly flawless surfaces, razor-sharp details on Lincoln's portrait, clean fields, and strong strike quality, and some of these have reached breathtaking prices at auctions because so few exist in that pristine condition. And when we talk about errors, the 1976 penny becomes even more exciting, with off-center strikes, doubled dies, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die breaks all commanding impressive premiums depending on severity and eye appeal, and collectors love these error coins because they offer a glimpse into the minting process and showcase the tiny mechanical moments that can transform an ordinary coin into something truly rare. And in today's market, interest in bicentennial year coins has surged once again as new generations of collectors enter the hobby, creating a fresh wave of demand for iconic dates like 1976, and while most circulated examples are still worth face value, the high-end coins, the errors, the sharply struck specimens, and those kept in immaculate condition continue to rise in value and attract competitive bidding, especially as the coin market strengthens and more investors shift their attention toward historical American numismatics. And with a current estimated high value of $779,349 for the absolute finest examples known to exist, the 1976 Liberty 1 cent stands as a powerful reminder of how extraordinary ordinary coins can become under the right circumstances, and this is why every collector should examine their 1976 pennies carefully, study the details, understand the market trends, and appreciate the incredible history behind these small copper pieces that connect us to America's bicentennial spirit, making them not just currency but living artifacts of national celebration, and here on Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and confusing coins ever released by the United States Mint, the Liberty 1 cent 1982D, a coin that comes from a year of massive transformation, minting experiments, metal changes, and mysteries that still puzzle collectors, dealers, and experts more than 4 decades later. The 1982D penny is not just a coin, it is a major turning point in the entire history of U.S. coinage, a moment when the old copper tradition of American cents came to an end and a brand new era of zinc coins began. Because of this historic shift, the 1982D penny became one of the most studied coins in modern numismatics, and certain rare versions of this coin have shocked the coin market by reaching values that most collectors never believed possible. In the current market, the hottest spotlight is on the extremely rare and valuable versions of the 1982D penny that can be worth up to an astounding $779,350, making it a dream coin for collectors and a life-changing discovery for anyone lucky enough to find one. To understand why the 1982D penny is such a big deal, we need to step back into the early 1980s, a time when the United States Mint was facing a major problem. The cost of copper had skyrocketed so high that it became more expensive to make a penny than the penny was worth. For decades, U.S. cents were struck from a 95% copper composition that gave them weight, strength, and that unmistakable reddish tone we all recognize. But by 1982 copper prices had exploded, putting enormous pressure on the mint to find a cheaper alternative. This led to one of the biggest changes in U.S. coinage history, the switch from solid copper pennies to copper-plated zinc pennies. But the transition did not happen in a single day. Instead, 1982 became a chaotic year of mixed metal production, multiple varieties, different designs, and several trial runs. 7 official combinations were released across the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and these varieties are the reason the 1982D penny remains a collector's puzzle box even today. The key twist is that most 1982D pennies are the new zinc version, but a tiny number of rare copper 1982D pennies were accidentally struck. These error coins are so rare that they became legendary, and their values have reached the sky. Now imagine this: you pick up a 1982D penny, the most common-looking coin in your pocket, but if it is the wrong metal or rare variety, you could be holding a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That is where the excitement comes from, and that excitement fuels today's coin market. The copper 1982D small date variety is one of the rarest modern pennies ever created. Only a handful are believed to exist, and collectors worldwide are constantly searching boxes, jars, and even bank bags hoping to uncover one of these elusive treasures. When one of these rare examples appears, bidding wars erupt because collectors know they may never see another one again. That is why in the modern market, the high-end value of the rarest 1982D penny sits at an incredible $779,350, a value driven by rarity, demand, and historic importance. Even regular 1982D pennies can bring good money in high grade. Mint state coins free from scratches can sell for far more than face value, and coins certified in the top grades by major grading companies can command very strong premiums among collectors who want the finest examples. Think about the journey of this coin. It came from a period when the mint was under pressure, rushing to shift metals, testing dyes, experimenting with lettering, and adjusting designs. This produced both large date and small date varieties, as well as copper and zinc versions. The Denver Mint alone created several variations, and the 1982D pennies were struck in massive numbers. But the rare copper small date slipped through the cracks, likely struck when leftover copper planchets were accidentally fed into the presses after the official switch to zinc. This is why these coins have become legends. Whether found in an old coin collection, inherited coin jar, or circulation, each discovery becomes national numismatic news. Entire coin communities erupt with excitement when even one authenticated example appears because every new discovery changes what we know about the mintage and survival of this coin. Collectors love this coin not just for its rarity but for its deep connection to American monetary history. The 1982 shift represented a new era where rising metal costs forced innovation, just as previous generations had changed nickel compositions during wartime. For many collectors, owning a rare 1982D variety means holding a piece of American economic history, a coin that tells the story of inflation, manufacturing challenges, and major mint decisions. The Lincoln cent itself, first introduced in 1909, remains the longest-running coin series in U.S. history, and 1982 marks one of the most dramatic turning points within that series. This makes every 1982 coin especially significant, but the Denver Mint varieties stand out even more because of their complexity and the mysterious copper survival. Today's coin market continues to grow, and demand for the rare 1982D penny has never been higher. With collectors using advanced digital scales, microscopes, and grading services, more people than ever before are searching for rare varieties in places they never checked before. Social media, auctions, and collector networks have created a global spotlight around coins like this, driving up interest and boosting prices across the board. The modern collector community knows that coins with rarity plus a historic story plus extremely limited surviving numbers are the ones that can jump in value the fastest. And the 1982D copper small date penny fits that formula perfectly. This is why its market value today stands at $779,350, and why that number may still grow in the upcoming years if fewer examples are found than expected. Rare coins often see dramatic price increases over time, especially when they become symbols of a defining moment in U.S. mint history. So if you have a 1982D penny at home, do not ignore it. Weigh it. Inspect it carefully. Compare the date style. Look for signs of copper or zinc. You might think you are holding just 1 cent, but you could be holding the rarest modern penny that collectors dream of. This is the real treasure hunt, and it is happening right in your pocket. And that is why here at Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most underrated treasures hiding in pocket change, the Liberty 1 cent 1987D penny, a coin that so many collectors overlook, yet it carries a surprising historical background, shocking varieties, and a current top-end market value of $779,351. A number that sounds unbelievable until you understand the combination of rarity, minting conditions, survival rates, and collector demand that makes certain 1987D pennies worth a fortune, so settle in because this is going to be one of the most detailed and fascinating deep dives you will ever hear about this modern Lincoln cent. The Liberty 1 cent 1987D coin was struck at the Denver Mint during a period when the United States Mint was shifting heavily into high-volume production using copper-plated zinc planchets. And this transition era produced a mix of perfectly struck coins, weakly struck coins, off-center errors, die cracks, plating blisters, and unusual varieties that today are the heart of the modern cent collecting world. The 1980s coinage scene was wild. Machines were pushed to their limits because of massive circulation demands, and the Denver Mint in particular was known for producing huge quantities of coins quickly, which means errors, varieties, and high-grade survivors are incredibly difficult to find. As collectors, we tend to focus on older wheat cents or the rare large-date and small-date variations, but what many people fail to recognize is that modern cents like the 1987D have almost all disappeared into circulation, suffering decades of wear, corrosion, and damage. The few that remain in pristine condition, especially those that have been tucked away untouched for nearly 40 years, have become the superstars of modern numismatics, turning a common penny into a high-value collectible. The most astonishing part of the 1987D story lies in the grades. While billions were minted, only a microscopic fraction exists today in true gem condition, and when we say gem condition, we are talking about mirror-like surfaces, razor-sharp details in Abraham Lincoln's beard, clean steps on the Lincoln Memorial, no contact marks, perfect luster flow, and flawless copper plating that has not bubbled or peeled. When one of these rare survivors appears in an auction at MS 68 or higher, bidding wars erupt instantly because advanced collectors know how impossibly scarce such pieces are. It is this exact demand for ultra-high-grade modern coins that allowed the finest known 1987D to reach a current estimated market value of $779,351, a number driven not by metal content, but by rarity at the highest levels of preservation. Modern coins may have huge mintages, but high-grade survivors are dramatically rarer than old coins, which were often saved in rolls and bags. Almost nobody saved 1987 D pennies, which is why collectors now chase them with unmatched intensity. Beyond high-grade specimens, the 1987 D is also known for several valuable errors that can transform an ordinary penny into a major collectible piece. Off-center strikes, double die obverse varieties, die cracks running through the date or liberty, and plating issues that create dramatic blistering patterns are among the most prized. A strong double die showing separation in the letters of liberty or in God We Trust can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and condition. Off-center errors that leave part of the design missing but still show the date are highly desirable and can sell for significant amounts as well. Collectors today are more educated and more willing to invest heavily in unusual modern varieties, which is why every year we see rising prices for well-preserved 1987 D-era coins. The history of the 1987 D also ties deeply into the broader story of the post-1982 copper-zinc era. When the mint switched from solid copper to copper-plated zinc planchets, it introduced new challenges in the minting process. These thinner copper layers made coins more susceptible to damage and defects, which again means that pristine examples are harder to find. This era marked a shift where the mint was trying to maximize efficiency while dealing with new materials, new machinery stress, and evolving technology. The result is a generation of coins that, while common in general circulation, are extremely rare in top collector quality. The 1987 D embodies this entire story, representing a historical turning point in American coinage and a symbol of the hidden value that collectors continue to uncover in modern cents. Today's market is stronger than ever for modern condition rarities. Collectors are now actively hunting through rolls, bank boxes, old jars, and inherited coin piles looking for coins just like the 1987 D. Auction houses have reported increased demand and skyrocketing prices for coins from the 1980s that achieve top populations. As more collectors join the search and as the number of untouched high-grade coins shrinks due to natural circulation and damage, values continue to rise. That $779,351 figure represents the absolute upper end of what an extraordinary specimen with flawless surfaces, perfect strike, and complete originality could command in the current market. Even mid-grade mint-state examples can sell for respectable amounts, and error coins add additional layers of profit potential for those who know what to look for. So if you ever come across a crisp, bright red 1987 D penny with strong details and minimal marks, you could be holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Whether it is a high-grade survivor, an intriguing error, or a one-of-a-kind top population masterpiece, the Liberty 1 cent 1987 D remains one of the most exciting coins for collectors today, blending modern history, rarity, and explosive market potential into one extraordinary story. Keep searching your change, keep checking those older jars, and never underestimate the power of a single penny, because here on Rare U.S. Coins. Today we dive deep into one of the most fascinating treasures hiding in plain sight inside old jars, forgotten drawers and inherited collections across America, the Liberty 1 cent 1988 D coin, a tiny copper-plated relic that looks simple at first glance but actually carries a story of intrigue, history, production secrets, and market value potential that can shock even longtime collectors. The 1988 D penny, minted at the Denver Mint during a time when the United States was shifting between minting technologies and die designs, has become one of the most talked about modern Lincoln cents because of rare varieties, transitional errors, and the booming demand for high-grade examples. When most people look at a 1988 D penny they think it is common pocket change, and while it is true that millions were minted, only a tiny fraction survive today in pristine condition with the sharp details, glowing luster and crisp surfaces that collectors fight over in auctions. This is exactly why the current top-tier market value for a perfect specimen can reach an astonishing $779,352, a number that shocks beginners but makes perfect sense once you understand the conditions that create rarity in modern coins. The story begins in the late 1980s, a time of technological transition when the United States Mint was replacing older hub designs with updated ones. These changes created opportunities for unusual die combinations, and that is where the famous 1988 and 1988 D transitional reverse variety was born. This variety uses the reverse design intended for the following year, and because only a handful escaped into circulation, it has become one of the most hunted modern coin treasures. For collectors obsessed with the tiniest differences in design, such as the shape of the designer's initials near the Lincoln Memorial, or the precise style of the lettering, these details are everything. They are the fingerprints that separate a common coin from a life-changing discovery. Many collectors have spent years checking every 1988 penny they come across in hopes of finding that one special variety, and every time a new high-grade piece appears at auction, it pushes the excitement and the market price even higher. In addition to errors and varieties, condition plays a massive role in determining value. The overwhelming majority of 1988 pennies show scratches, dulling, discoloration and wear from decades of circulation. Very few remain in the near-perfect condition required to command premium prices. When a coin from this year is graded by a major grading service and receives a top grade such as MS-67 or MS-68, collectors know they are looking at a survivor of remarkable quality. These coins tend to sell immediately because they are so rare that owning one is like possessing a piece of modern numismatic royalty. The Denver Mint struck billions of pennies, but high-grade survivors are the rare needles in a massive haystack, and that scarcity is what drives the value into breathtaking territory. The market for modern coins has grown dramatically in recent years. Younger collectors, YouTube educators, online auction platforms, and the global rise of coin-collecting communities have all contributed to a sudden surge in demand. Modern pennies like the 1988 benefit from this trend because collectors are realizing that it's not only ancient or silver coins that can be valuable. Even a small copper-plated zinc penny from 1988 can be worth a fortune if it has the right qualities. As more collectors try to assemble high-grade sets of Lincoln cents, the competition for flawless examples becomes intense, pushing prices higher and higher. Some buyers are willing to pay record amounts because they know the supply has already been exhausted and the chances of a new high-grade discovery decrease every year. In the broader numismatic world, the 1988 penny is now part of a group of modern rarities that include the 1983 double die, the 1992 close AM, the 1995 double die and the 1988 transitional reverse. All these coins share one thing in common: they look ordinary but hide extraordinary value. They are treasures disguised as everyday coins. What makes the 1988 especially interesting is that it is not just one rare variety driving the value but a combination of factors, including minting technology changes, quality control inconsistencies, and decades of circulation damage reducing the population of top-grade pieces. Today, collectors carefully examine every detail under magnification, checking for die scratches, misplaced initials, the subtle differences in the Lincoln Memorial's columns and the quality of the surfaces. Some collectors spend hours searching through rolls obtained directly from banks or bulk boxes purchased from estate sales. The thrill of possibly finding a rare transitional reverse or a nearly perfect example is what keeps the excitement alive. And this excitement fuels the market, keeping the value for the top specimen at that incredible $779,352. Whenever a new sale approaches, collectors watch closely, wondering if the next record will be broken and if the prices will reach even higher in the coming years. For anyone watching this on rare US coins,